Start with you. Putin has been blaming the US for creating this mess in the first place, but Haftar recently was trying to take on Turkey, it seems. What do you make of these allegations being made by Haftar that Turkey is interested in protecting its interests?
Well, I think it is a kind of regional struggle between the pro-democratic forces and anti-democratic forces. Overall, this is the greater picture that I can see. Turkey is definitely supporting and recognizing the UN-recognized government based in Tripoli, and the international community also is recognizing that the only legitimate government of Libya. On the other hand, I think some of the powers in the region who are really afraid of the democratic the transitions in the region are trying to undermine all of the revolutions not to be successful examples for the democracy, because for the long term, it will undermine their own legitimacy. And it's not only about Libya. In Sudan, we see what's happening, and in Algeria as well, and in the other countries that went through the revolution, especially some have been very much worried about their own future, because in case of these revolutions to be successful, to lead to a successful governments, democratic governments, and the governments to go and come by fair and free elections for the long term, it will be a legitimacy problem. That's why they are supporting Khalifa Haftar. On the other hand, that is true. In the region, we should not be in dreams. If international community is acting to shut down or topple down a dictator in the region or in a country, they should have plan B. What's the next day plan? And as the former president of the USA, Obama, also admitted, when the NATO started the operation against Gaddafi, they did not have the next day plan. So it's something serious. You're invading a country and toppling down the government, whether you like it or not, which I personally believe that Gaddafi was a horrible dictator. But on the other hand, if you are toppling down a government, whether it's good or bad, you should have the next day planning, because you know that for that power vacancy, it's going to cost thousands of the lives. And this is exactly what we've seen here. In that sense, I think Russia has a point.
Russia has a point. But at the same time, when we see the UNSC trying to pass a resolution here that was initiated by the British and the US saying that, giving this excuse that, oh, we need to confer with Washington on this, pretty much stopping the resolution in its tracks. What does this reflect? Is this basically the US not willing to bring a stop or a hurdle in the path of Haftar?
For the USA, I think there is a kind of de facto agreement between the USA and its allies. Allies are supporting Khalifa Haftar, and in Girian, the last defeat of Khalifa Haftar, there has been loss of the USA's arms that have been captured. Those were the arms by the USA that sold, and these arms have been captured in Girian. So it is certainly very much clear that the USA also is supporting Khalifa Haftar. And besides that, Khalifa Haftar's rhetoric is very much interesting. From the day first on, he always has been claiming that he is fighting against Islamic extremism or Islamic terrorism, which is being very much bought and by the Western media industry and the political circles as well. So it's appealing to Western media, Western societies, and Western politicians. So in any way, I think they have seen that in case of democratic transition for the long term, the conservative Democrats are going to come to power, and these conservative democracies or powers will be negotiating powers. It's going to be much tougher to manage them. And the USA, not to harm its relations with countries, I think they are trying to block any attempt to stop Khalifa